Today, we're talking about one of the most mysterious names to come out of Compton's underground rap scene. A rapper whose music has become a cult classic amongst West Coast collectors. A rapper whose name often is mentioned alongside some of the most infamous figures in 1990s Compton rap. OBG, Evil CURT. Unlike artists signed to major labels, Evil CURT never became a household name, but amongst fans of underground gangster rap, his music continues to circulate nearly 30 years later. Today, we're going to take a look at what we actually know about Evil CURT. We're going to separate fact from rumor, and we're going to explore why his name still comes up whenever people discuss Compton's underground rap history. During the 1980s and early 1990s, Compton was one of the most influential cities in hip-hop. Compton was on its way to running the scene. In fact, artists like NWA, MC8, DJ Quick, and Eazy-E had already made the city's name popular. But away from the major record labels, there were hundreds of local rappers who were making music from neighborhood studios. I was one of those rappers making music in the 1990s out of a Compton studio, just hoping that one day someone would hear my music. Many of us artists, we pressed our own CDs, we pressed our own tapes, and we sold them out of the trunks of our cars. Or we made relationships with local swap meet vendors, and we got them to put our music in their stores, hoping that the streets would pick it up, and then eventually it would gain national distribution. OBG Evil CURT was one of those artists. Although very little has been publicly documented about his early life, his music reflected the realities of street life in Compton during that era. Now, Evil CURT's most popular recording is probably Baby Gangsta Ways. The song has remained popular amongst collectors and continues to circulate online. Listening to his music today, it gives you that authentic 1990s West Coast sound. Evil CURT built his reputation primarily through the streets and local word of mouth. He didn't have big artists who were backing him. He wasn't backed by a big record label. He was the streets. And owning underground Compton rap from the 1990s is like owning a piece of history for many collectors. And there are people who search for this particular tape to this day. One reason that Evil CURT's name continues to surface is his reported association with the Southside Compton neighborhood. Public discussion frequently links him with the people connected to the Southside Compton Crips. It's important to explain this responsibly. Compton's rap scene and neighborhood affiliations often overlapped during the 1990s. Many rappers openly represented the neighborhoods where they grew up. However, that does not automatically tell us everything about an individual's personal life, right? Without reliable public record or firsthand interviews from Evil CURT himself, it's best to avoid making claims that can't be verified. Another reason Evil CURT's name is discussed today is because of his reported friendship with Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. Does that name ring a bell, ladies and gentlemen? Orlando Anderson became internationally known after being identified by investigators as the primary suspect who took out Tupac Shakur. During his lifetime, Anderson, aka Baby Lane, consistently denied involvement, and he was never charged in the case before his death. Later investigations, including the case against Keefe D, probably the biggest ding-dong in recent history, brought renewed public attention to Anderson's alleged role, but they did not establish any involvement by Evil CURT himself. Some fans and online discussions mention that Evil CURT and Anderson knew one another through their Compton connections. Given the limited, reliable documentation, it's fair to say their names are often mentioned together in discussion about Southside Compton during the 90s. What should not be done is to assume that friendship automatically means involvement in the events surrounding Tupac's murder. One of the biggest reasons Evil CURT becomes mysterious is because he never experienced mainstream success. There were no major magazine profiles, very few recorded interviews, no large promotional campaigns. Much of the underground West Coast rap from the 1990s simply wasn't preserved. And that's a damn shame because there was so much good music out there. I remember running into these guys in the early 90s, mid 90s from Compton. And Compton was onto something else back in the day. Independent labels, they eventually just disappeared during this time. A lot of the time, master tapes were lost. Small record stores closed. And as a result, many talented artists faded from public view, even though their music continued to live on amongst collectors. Evil CURT is one of those artists. Today, OBG Evil CURT represents an era of West Coast hip-hop that many younger fans have never experienced. His music reminds us that the history of gangster rap wasn't written only by platinum-selling artists. There were thousands of independent rappers who were recording music throughout Los Angeles County. Some of us sold tapes from the trunks of our cars. Oh, that was such a good time. Such a hustle, but such a good time. Some of us performed at neighborhood clubs. Some of us built loyal local followings. Although Evil CURT never became a national star, his recordings continue to be discovered by new listeners who appreciate authentic underground West Coast rap. His story is also a reminder that history is often incomplete. Not every artist leaves behind dozens of interviews or newspaper articles. Sometimes all that's left is the music itself and the memories of the people who were there. If more firsthand interviews, photographs, or documentation surface in the future, we may learn more about OBG Evil CURT and his place in Compton rap history. But until then, his legacy will remain one of underground's enduring mysteries. Man, just think of all the could-have-beens in rap. So many people out there were chasing that dream of becoming a rapper back in the 90s. I remember specifically like it was yesterday. We were all chasing that dream. I want to be a rapper, man. But in reality, less than 1% ever made it, and less than 1% will make it. That goes to all of you out there right now who are chasing your dream. You're chasing a dream that less than 1% of people succeed in. I'm not telling you to give up your dream. I'm just letting you know the reality of it, ladies and gentlemen. The reality is less than 1% of you out there listening to me right now who have a dream are going to make it. So that being said, just make sure you always have something to fall back on. You know, you could dream, but have a day job as well. Shit, work at night. That's my hustle, man. I work my day job during the day and I do my thing at night. My side hustles at night. So I just want you to set expectations for yourself, because a lot of us out there, a lot of my people, we like to push basketball on our kids. We like to push football on our kids. We like to push music on our kids. My kid's going to be the next DJ Quick. Odds are your kid's not going to be the next DJ Quick. Your kid can't even read, so he's probably not going to be the next DJ Quick. And once again, I'm not trying to shatter your dreams. I'm just bringing reality to the subject. But what an interesting story about OGB Evil CURT. I'm one of those guys who studies West Coast hip hop. So when I heard the name, kind of went down that rabbit hole, learned about his association to Baby Lane. And I figured, you know what? I got to do a little something on this guy because that's my job and that's what I want to do. I just want to keep the legacy of West Coast hip hop alive and talk about the artists who don't get a lot of shine, the artists who don't get the love. Everyone talks about Tupac. Everyone does videos on Eazy-E. Everybody does videos on Snoop. Their names will live on in infamy because everyone talks about them and loves them and lives on. But no one really talks about the OGB Evil Kurtz. They don't. But that's why I'm here, ladies and gentlemen, to talk about the OBG Evil Kurtz. Thank you for tuning in to Dusty Vision TV. Please hit that like button if you have not already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, you just might appreciate this bonus clip I'm about to play for you right now.
How tight were you with Jewel, man?
Jewel was a firecracker, right? She started messing with one of my security guys, this guy named Fred Reynolds, the detective, the one that got the book out. Y'all need to do an interview and check that book out. He got, I can't think of it right now, but he got a great book out right now about Compton and stuff like that. Okay. Fred Reynolds is his name. But they were messing around for a minute. And so they, I was mainly a Suge guy with Suge. I wasn't one to be hanging around the artists. I was kind of like this with Suge or managing and controlling the security company, and the guys doing that. But it was at events with Jewel. Whenever it was something with Jewel, it was always like a problem, or they was in the studio. Sugar really stopped in 95, 96, stopped really traveling with the artists. He mainly just took the Danny Boy and had him traveling out of town with us, to New York and stuff like that, and just handling business. You very rarely saw him and Dre out together in public. Snoop, he kept to with his crew and stuff. Like the main, like the award shows and stuff like that, of course, would be there as a family. But individuals, man, it was really cliquish. It was really big clique.
And what clique did Tupac roll with the most?
The mob, of course. He eventually, he is his own, the Outlaws. But then lately, the mob dudes. I'm not up here to say he was claiming the mob or anything. I don't think it. I don't know. But that's who he was the closest with.
So was Tupac from Mob Piru or was he not from Mob Piru? And when I say was he from, did Pac actually get jumped in to a gang? I've spoken with many people, and many people have their different opinions on this. I've also spoken with people who were very close to Tupac at this time, specifically one of his best friends at the time. And he told me that he did, in fact, get jumped in to Mob Piru. I thought that was very interesting and unfortunate. Nothing against the mob, but I just felt that, honestly, if Tupac didn't go down that route, he probably would still be alive today. But the universe, God, whoever, the maker, whoever you believe in, had it in their plans for him to pass away on September 13th, 1996, when he was just 25 years old. But I always remember thinking that, man, if Pac wouldn't have went down that road, would he still be alive? Did Death Row turn him up? I think Death Row turned up Tupac. I think Pac came out of prison, out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. That's a very powerful line if you think about that. Out on bail, fresh out of jail, California dreaming. Pac had the world in his hands. He knew he was going to be the biggest thing ever when he got out of prison. And he was right. That double CD, the anticipation for that album was amazing. And it's one of those things that I remember so vividly in my life was when that album came out. And it was a great album. And it turned Pac into a different person, a lot of people have said, including Tupac's really good friend at the time. Said once he went to death row, things just changed. He alienated certain people. He turned up a little bit. And he had no one near him who could reel him in, who could bring him back down to earth. I mean, you had the Outlaws there, but apparently they were as big of knuckleheads as Pac was back then. Think about it. 20s, rolling with Tupac, millions of dollars, all these women, probably all kinds of substances around. Man, there was no reeling Tupac in back then. But if he had someone close to him at that time who would have told him, hey, man, maybe it's not a good idea to roll with those dudes in red and get jumped in, maybe he would still be alive. Just my opinion. But what do you guys think of the interview so far with Reggie Wright Jr.? If you like the clip that I just played, check out the full interview. The link is in the description. And once you click on that link, I want you to subscribe to NWA Stories with Lonzo and check out the full interview there and all the other dope content that we do over at NWA Stories with Lonzo. Alonzo Williams, the godfather of West Coast hip hop. So I appreciate you all doing that. That would be amazing if you can go over there and check that out. And if you are interested in the full interview, like I said, the link is in the description. But in this clip of Reggie Wright, he also talked about Jewel, someone from Death Row that I used to love back in the day, music-wise. Woman to woman, have you ever felt in love? She was on all the soundtracks. Murder Was the Case, Above the Rim. I don't think she ever released an album on Death Row. I'm pretty confident she didn't release an album, but she was on a lot of the hits that we know and love to this day. And unfortunately, we lost Jewel some years back. So RIP to her. But she had a beautiful voice, an amazing voice. I mean, amazing voice, and she was very entertaining. And much love to her family. You guys lost a very, very special person.
I'm Snoop Dogg. I never had any beef with anybody from the East.
All right. So the East Coast, West Coast situation. We're going to bounce all over the place, but a lot of people would say that it started with the Quad Studios situation where Tupac, they put a few bullets in Tupac on November 30th, 1994. Now, Pac was scheduled to record a verse with an artist by the name of Lil Sean at the Quad Studios, and Pac needed the money at the time, so he's like, boom, I'll meet you up there. They came up with a money figure that everybody agreed with. Boom, they get there. He was going through a lot of legal stuff. He needed money for his legal fees. Pac was getting hit left and right with legal situations, so he's like, dude, let me do this Lil Sean verse, right? And as he arrived, members of Junior Mafia were there. And apparently they greeted him from the top. What up, Pac? Come on up, man. We got blunts, man. We got bitches, man. Come on up, man. So Pac sees them, right? And he's like, oh, okay. I didn't know they were supposed to be here. Maybe a red flag in hindsight, right, for Pac? But everyone knows the story. He got on the elevator. Some dudes tried to rob him. And they ended up putting some bullets into him. And he was wheeled out on a stretcher. And as he was being wheeled out, throws up the middle finger. Now, what made this suspicious? Well, Pac was of the mindset that I'm coming to your city. I'm coming to your neighborhood. I'm coming to the studio that you record at all the time. And you're telling me you don't know who put these bullets in me? Is that what you're telling me, Biggie and Junior Mafia? And that was Pac's thinking. Shortly after this whole situation, he was sentenced to jail, and he spent time on Rikers Island, and he said that as he saw Bad Boy and them blowing up, this is all that was going on through his head. So all he wanted to do when he got out was get revenge. He sees Bad Boy blowing up. He sees Biggie, and this is all Pac's saying. He saw Biggie changing his lyrics to more of a player style, similar to what Pac was doing. Pac is seeing this from behind the scene bars, and he can't do anything about it. Was that the start of the East Coast, West Coast war? Who knows? Junior Mafia, Biggie, all of them, they all denied everything. They're like, man, Pac, you're tripping, you're paranoid, you're crazy, we would never set you up, all of that. And to this day, they've stood by that.
The thing that got me the most, and I never spoke on it in 20 years, I never spoke on this topic. I never spoke to no other radio station, no one about this. You are the first one.
Thank you.
I'm giving this information to how I felt about it. Biggie and Pac was best friends that I think people didn't really understand how tight they were.
Let me see how I'm gonna hit you with. You wanna set it off? Man, I'm scared to do some freestyle. I'm scared to do some freestyle. Flow, I'm too high and I might go off tempo.
Way beyond the music, these brothers were very, very close. When you can have someone meet you at a train station in Brooklyn, and Little C's and an entourage pick you up from Brooklyn, you know, and bring you to the house, and the love you have out there was amazing. People wouldn't understand the love that them two individuals had when they would just stand next to each other around people, and the excitement that they would bring. Now, the entourages of those individuals were street individuals, period. Right. They were street individuals. And all of those individuals that was involved were individuals each party knew. Each party knew. And the thing that got me the most, and I'm going to keep it real with you, the thing that got me the most is that they knew, and everybody knew, who did it in New York, and that Biggie ain't have nothing to do with it. Everybody knew that. If you were from the streets, out here, and you was in the mix, you knew who the fuck did it. Excuse my language, but you knew. Mm-hmm. And the thing that got me is the people that was ahead of those brothers, that was in the forefront of them, like Puffy and Suge. You telling me them two brothers with that much money and that much pull in the street, they ain't know the real deal? They knew the real deal. Mm. But then they wanted Pac to continue to go on with the bull crap for the record sales. And I'm gonna tell you something. And I understand that some of the individuals that was around my G, they really was feeling where he was coming from, because a lot of them thought that Big did have something to do with it. Mm-hmm. And Pac was redirected in those conversations because the real OGs that was around him knew the real deal. So the thing that gets me the most is that me and Smooth was back and forth in LA at that time that was going on. Mm-hmm. Because Ice-T, like I said, is our OG, that's our homie. Mm-hmm. So we're in LA back and forth with Ice-T. Where's the hate for New York? It was no hate. Mm. It was no hate. We was in the Long Beaches, in the Crenshaw.
Yeah, we didn't hate you.
You know what I'm saying? Right. I was in Corona Hills. I was in Beverly Hills. I was all out there. So the love I was getting in LA, I was shouting that back to New York, like, yo, don't listen to the radio stations, don't listen to the news, don't listen to this. Yo, LA is going to always be our other home. Mm. So individuals that understood it, they knew, okay, it ain't no beef in it. We ain't got no. And look, Brooklyn didn't have no kind of vibe against LA. Even when the bull crap of they was doing songs back and forth, because everybody thought Biggie's song "Who Shot Ya" was to Tupac, and it wasn't.
Yeah,
it wasn't.
Can't even lie.
Okay?
Can't even lie. I thought that too, being out in LA. We thought that.
But it wasn't. It was a song that was done way before the incident happened. And only Brooklyn rappers that was in the mix that was either number one at the time, like me and Smooth, or was in the mix of us doing music and tours with all of us, they would stop in the D&D studios, and they would stop in there and see Biggie recording his songs, or Big Pun in the other room recording his songs and stuff like that. So we knew the songs was being done months and months, almost a year before the shit even happened. But when it happened and you got record execs that control that movement, of course they're going to try to take the best record artist got and run with it and try to throw it out there and make it seem like, oh, well, this is, he's going to defend himself with this.
Yeah.
This right here going to make him look good. But that wasn't Big's thing. Big had been said from day one, yo, y'all, I ain't even getting involved with this shit, man. Look, Pac, my nigga, I'm going to let him vent. We'll be able to talk.
I stay strapped with my gap, even when I'm in the field mode.
Let's talk about the time Tupac was robbed in the Bay by JT the Bigger Figure and some Fillmore cats. Before we discuss the incident, let's discuss the Fillmore district area of San Francisco, where JT is from.
I stay strapped with my gap, even when I'm in the field mode.
After the 1906 San Francisco earthquake, the district experienced a large influx of diverse ethnic populations. It began to house large numbers of blacks, Jews, and Japanese, earning it the reputation for being one of the most diverse neighborhoods in San Francisco. The area was known for having the largest jazz scene on the West Coast. After World War II, the black population in San Francisco grew from around 4,800 to around 43,000. A large percentage of those living in the Fillmore.
I stay strapped with my gap, even when I'm in the field mode.
Fast forward to the 1980s and 90s, like most black neighborhoods at the time, crack hit. Crime skyrocketed, and the Fillmore became a much rougher place to live than before.
I stay strapped with my gap, even when I'm in the field mode.
This is the area JT the Bigger Figure and his crew, the ones who jumped and robbed Tupac, called home. So how did Tupac get robbed? What happened? By most accounts, there was no beef between Tupac and Fillmore. The beef at the time was between Richie Rich and Fillmore. Richie Rich was a very popular rapper from Oakland. He himself had a couple of hits, and he's even done several songs with Tupac. They were very close friends, actually. There was a song out at the time by the Governor titled Gaffled Like That. In the song, Richie Rich has a line that says something to the effect of, I got some broke Fillmore niggas trying to rob me for my gold tones. JT, being from Fillmore, was not too fond of that line. Hell, Fillmore wasn't too fond of that line. Even though it was true that Richie Rich was in fact chased out of Fillmore because someone was trying to steal his car, they still weren't feeling him putting it in a song. Before I continue, I'm going to ask you to hit that like button, and if this is your first time joining my channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button.
I stay strapped with my gap, even when I'm in the field mode.
This all happened around the time the movie Juice came out. So Tupac was about as famous as it gets, especially in hoods all over the United States. Everyone saw that movie when it came out. So Pac was the man. Well, it just so happened that right around the time this song came out, where Richie Rich said that line about the Fillmore, Pac and Richie were booked on the same show in San Francisco as JT, the Bigger Figure. Now, at this time, the story goes, Tupac knew nothing of the beef and nothing of the issues that Fillmore had with Richie Rich.
I stay strapped with my gap.
even when I'm in the field mode.
JT and his crew show up deep, way deeper than Richie Rich and his boys, which included Pac and the Governor. Pac and them were on stage when all hell broke loose. Pac apparently had a lot of heart and stayed there to defend his homie. It's said that Tupac grabbed the mic stand he was rapping with and just started busting people upside the head with it. Eventually, it became too much as JT's crew descended onto the stage, and eventually they packed out Pac and the crew. They even started grabbing people by the leg and pulling them off stage into the crowd, where they continued to whoop on them. One thing that all parties have agreed to is that Pac didn't punk out. He took his lumps and fought till he couldn't fight no more. Pac, the Governor, and Richie Rich just wanted to get out all in one piece. During the stomping, JT's crew allegedly walked away with some of Tupac's jewelry, including a hair-on bone necklace, a watch, and a diamond ring. It wasn't like they had it in for Pac any more than anyone else. He just happened to have on the most jewelry at that time. It is said that the jewelry was then taken to the Fillmore, where it was passed around and seen as a trophy of sorts. One good thing that came out of this: no gunshots, no deaths. Thankfully, everyone involved made it out alive.
I stay strapped with my gap even when I'm in the field mode.
A few years back, I interviewed Black C from the RBL Posse, a classic West Coast group from San Francisco. Him and I discussed what he remembers about the night Tupac was jumped by some Fillmore cats. Please hit that like button, and if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. I'll talk to you soon.
I stay strapped with my gap even when I'm in the field mode.
I just want to name a few people, and you give me a nice little short story or a thought, or something that comes to your mind. What about, did you ever run into Tupac?
No, I never met Tupac. I seen him, shit, getting chased up out of the stone in Frisco by the Fillmore dudes.
Oh,
Fillmore dudes, yeah, JT and all their little crew. Yeah, them Fillmore dudes wasn't playing, man. Them Fillmore dudes, they used to be bullies back in the days. I ain't gonna lie, they was crazy. Them dudes had some. Even to this day, JT and all the dudes I know from Fillmore, they still the same. Fillmore got so much Fillmore pride, man. It's a fool. They was telling a story about it. Quinn did one of the interviews and told the whole little inside story. I wasn't inside the building, but I pulled up afterwards because there was a show a week after we did our show. We had a show with Andre Nicotina, Totally Insane, and GLP. And it was probably one or two other groups we did at the Stone on Broadway in Frisco. And then, a week later, they booked the Governor. They from Oakland, and Richie Rich. They was doing the show, and they brought Tupac. And, yeah, it was some shit had happened. I don't know exactly what happened, but something had happened where them dudes ended up jumping Tupac up in there and chasing out the building. I just seen the ruckus afterwards, them come running out. I was like, damn, what's that? And that's Tupac, Digital Underground. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, the Fillmore dudes is on it.
Goddamn.
Yeah, but I never met him personally. I never got a chance to meet him.
Okay.
Not at all.
I'm at a... Then everything gonna be okay.
What's the story behind Pac having a brief beef with Bone Thugs and Harmony? He felt he was the leader of the thug movement, and he felt some type of way about your group named Bone Thugs and Harmony. Can you tell us what you remember about that specifically?
Oh yeah. I think he made mention of that one time on The Box, on that TV show, where he was like, "Who was these thuggish ruggers boat? We laid down the bricks to this thug shit," and we instantly wanted to fight. Instantly, we was like, "What? Okay, we got to see you too." You know what I'm saying? So it was like, we was like, because like we had been like calling ourselves thugs way before we got on with Easy, like way before we got on with even on our, you know what I'm saying, like on our earlier projects. So it was just like, But that was the youngness in us, man. Like to think like we had to retaliate on something like that. But it all got mended. Like, you know what I'm saying? When Pac came home, man, and it was just all out the door. Like it just wasn't an issue for some reason. And we moved past that and ended up doing a song, one of the greatest songs in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? It was a wonderful thing.
Oh, everybody Bone. Crazy Bone, Lazy Bone. Where the Bone come in at?
Yeah, that's like the family name. That's why everybody, you know what I'm saying?
Does it stand for something?
Yeah, well, Bone stood for beating on niggas every day, butted out niggas every day, brewed out niggas every day, and brothers on normal elimination.
I'm the biggest Bone Thugs and Harmony supporter, and I was today years old when I found out what the Bone in Bone Thugs and Harmony stood for. Great stories, man. Great stories by Crazy Bone of Bone Thugs and Harmony. Quite possibly the greatest group of all time. They're definitely my favorite, if not my one. It goes back and forth between them and NWA, Outkast. But I think Bone Thugs and Harmony might have the #1 title. Just everything about them, man. And then they're all different, too. They're all different. That's what I love about Bone Thugs and Harmony. But that Tupac story that Crazy Bone told, very, very interesting. I had no idea that they were beefing at the time, but it makes perfect sense because Pac was very possessive of that thug word. He went after Nas over the thug, right? When he thought Nas was saying fake thugs, no love. I know Mobb Deep used the word thug in their title. Pac wasn't too cool with that. Pac had Thug Life tattooed on his stomach. So he felt that was his. And that's one of those things in hip hop. If you know someone calls themselves something and then you start calling yourself that, then it's like, come on, dog. You know, there's a whole kind of, hey, you know that's me, but you're gonna go over there and you're gonna do that. All right, I'm coming for you. But according to Crazy Bone, they were Bone Thugs. They had the thug thing before Pac even knew anything about them, quite possibly. So once again, one of those things where just so happens that great minds were thinking alike in two different parts of the country. Pac had his thing with his movement, and Bone had their thing with their movement. But they ended up recording one of the dopest joints. Thug love, pop, pop. That beat, pop, pop. Man. And I like how Pac just came Pac style. He didn't try to adapt to Bone Thugs and Harmony style like Biggie did, but which Biggie did a great job. Biggie did an amazing job on Notorious Thugs. Let's take a vote. Notorious Thugs or Thug Love? If you had to pick one, Notorious Thugs or Thug Love? I love both of them. I'm West Coast all day. Every day. But I got to go with Notorious Thugs. The way Biggie came in is armed and dangerous. Ain't too many can bang with us. Straight off, we know angel dust. Label us notorious. Thug ass niggas that love to bust. It strings to us. Y'all niggas be scrambling, gambling. Come on. Like violins. Trying to win, trying not to sin. High up weed and loxygen. So much smoke, need oxygen. Steadily counting them Benjamins. Nigga, you should too. If you knew what this game would do to you. Been in this game since 92. Look at all the bullshit I've been through. So-called beef with you know who. Fucked with you female stars or two. Come on. Not to be F with. Motherfuckers wanna duck quick. Cause me and my dogs love the buck shit. Suck the luck shit, spit the game. Sit your game, grab your glack, cock your glack, cack your bitch. Come on. Dude. Biggie destroyed that track. Quite possibly Biggie Smalls' greatest verse of all time. In my opinion, I'm gonna go top 5 for sure. So that's why I love Thug Love, don't get me wrong, but I think Notorious was definitely they all came off on it, man. I would have loved to have been in the studio, and I don't believe they all recorded it in the studio together, which is unfortunate. When it comes to Notorious, that I don't think that one was all in the studio together. I could be wrong. One of them was, I believe, and one of them wasn't. Could be wrong, could be making this whole thing up. But, you know, I think I heard the story that one of them was recorded all together and the other was not recorded. It was recorded separate. So I don't know. All I know is that's a great song, and so is Thug Love Can't Hate It, but it's all about that notorious thug ass niggas that love the bus. It's strange to us. Y'all niggas be scrambling and gambling. I mean, I could keep going. Come on, dog. Stop it. All right, stop. But yes, what do you guys think about the Crazy Bone interview so far? If you enjoy it, please hit that like button. And I want you to check out the full interview. If you want to check out the full Crazy Bone interview, because I'm just playing this by clips, and I'm just talking about the clip that I played from the full interview that I did with Crazy Bone. If you want to check out the full interview, you got to go to the description, and you'll see a link, and click on that link, and that will take you to NWA Stories with Lonzo. Subscribe to NWA Stories with Lonzo and enjoy the full Crazy Bone interview right there. One of the GOATs, man. One of the GOATs. Shout out to Crazy Bone, and shout out to you guys for checking out the show. And please, once again, hit that like button if you haven't already. And if this is your first time joining the channel and you like what you hear, please hit that subscribe button. I'm telling you guys, I could go off when it comes to Bone Thugs and Harmony, but I think that Notorious Thug song is so dope. There's also a big story behind the Thug Love song that I didn't find out until I had the honor of interviewing Silky Fine, who had the song Romeo and Juliet. You guys remember that 90s song? It's like Romeo and Juliet, hot sex on a platter makes it something wet. You remember that song, right? I wasn't a big fan of the song, to be honest, but she had bars, and these bars came out in an unreleased version of Thug Love, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? She was supposed to be on the original Thug Love. She's the one that made the connection for Tupac and Bone Thugs and Harmony to come and do their thing. Somehow she ended up off the song, and the rest is history.
Her bitch like sugar, catch you slipping soon as you get to tripping South Central, stomping motherfuckers, blood and crippin'.
Eazy-E died, Tupac died, and it was more of a business move for Ruthless Records at the time. I was in the group GBM, which Tamika Woods dropped everybody from Ruthless other than Bone Thugs and Harmony. So it was conflict because they looked at it like a record with Tupac. Oh, this is going to be a group song, which it would have been a group song, but I made the connection to make the record happen. So you made my homeboy Tupac turn in his grave when you took my little 8 bars off of a record. So that's when I knew, like, you know, I intimidate artists. Like, y'all way from Cleveland. Like, I really had love and a relationship to make the record even happen.
Bone Thugs and Harmony. Thug. What did that stand for? Truly Humble United Gathering Souls. Yep, that's what it was. Truly Humble United Gathering Souls. I remember, for whatever reason, they said that in song often, so I remember that was what that meant. But Thug was a big thing also, so Thug brought on another type of beef. Pac wasn't feeling them having Thug in their title. I'm the Thug, says Pac. Who are these dudes from out of town coming to LA, linking up with an LA record label, calling themselves Thug? Oh, hell nah.
With some words said by Pac on the box before about who is these dudes claiming thugs and all of that, you know what I'm saying? You know how he was, a little hot-headed, and then, but once we all seen each other and face-to-face with it got squashed real quick.
He really wouldn't like Young Thug today. I don't think Tupac would Tupac get along with Young Thug? You think Tupac would like Young Thug? I don't know, man. I think Tupac would mess with Young Thug. Yeah, I think Tupac would. But back then, Pac wasn't messing with anybody putting no Thug in their title. I'm the Thug. Everybody knows me as the Thug. Who are these imposters? So there was a little beef. And thankfully, all that ended up not going anywhere, because what I understand, Bone Thugs and Harmony, they weren't none to be played with, man. They were some legit street dudes, and you know, just because you take them out of Cleveland doesn't mean that they're not going to protect themselves and take care of themselves. And they were kind of, from what I remember, you know, kind of little skinny dudes. We're going back in the 90s now. They're bigger now, but pause. But anyway, but you know, they were kind of skinny dudes. At least they look skinny in the baggy ass jeans that we used to wear back in the 90s. But rumor has it that they were not to be messed with, and that they all had each other's back, and they all pretty much, for the most part, stuck together and protected themselves in this crazy ass town that we call Hollywood. Because coming from Cleveland to Hollywood, that's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. Hollywood now is trash. Hollywood probably looks like Cleveland now. No offense to Cleveland, but I heard you guys are on some hard times too. But Hollywood is a s-hole now. It smells. You pull off, you get off of Santa Monica or Sunset or Hollywood, and it smells like human piss. Excuse me. Oh, I can smell it right now. It's burning my nose, and I'm not even in Hollywood. You walk down Hollywood Boulevard now, you're now hopscotching over human feces every 15 yards. Yeah, Hollywood is not what it used to be. Hollywood is not what it used to be. It's not that pretty town that you used to see in I Love Lucy. Remember when they came to Hollywood in I Love Lucy? Nah. Remember when Martin came to Hollywood and he battled Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson kept messing with him. Remember that? Sang with Jodeci. You remember how Hollywood looked back then? Yeah, that was only 30 short years ago. Nope, Hollywood don't look nothing like that now. Fortunately, Hollywood is full of unhoused people, and it has really turned what used to be a great town, a great city with a great history. It's turned into trash, man. But anyway, it's not about Hollywood. It's about Bone, Thugs, and Harmony. Machiavelli was released, which was released posthumous. It was released after Pac's. And Pac's wishing, according to certain interviews, was that the disses to Nas be taken off, because apparently they met at an MTV show and they had talks, Nas's camp versus Pac's camp. Pac and Nas apparently talked, shook hands, agreed not to diss each other. And keep in mind, guys, Nas was a big Pac fan and Pac was a big Nas fan. Before their bickering, Pac loved Nas's album. Nas loved Pac's music. Period. Everyone knows that. Nas will say it. Pac, there's record of Pac saying it. Loved his music.
I had a conversation with Pac, and Pac kept saying, "Yo, man, Nas." He was so adamant about fighting Nas. So I told him, I said, "Yo, Pac, let me explain something to you." I said, Nas is my little brother. You're my little brother. I said, well, let me give you some big brother advice. I said, the kid said he don't want no problems with you. He's never had no problem with you. He has the utmost respect for you. Why do you keep trying to make this a problem? But one thing I will say that a lot of people don't know, after him and Nas met in the park, he was going to scrap the whole album. He said, Eric, this is what we're going to do. When we get back on Monday, after the fight, after we go to the Titan fight, we're gonna fly Nas in, and me and Nas gonna do an album together.
They get into their disagreement, call each other's names out. They end up meeting at MTV in New York. I do believe it was in New York. Bunch of Pac's guys, bunch of Nas's guys. They talk, just them two, like men. And Pac said, I'm gonna take all those disses off, because apparently on that Machiavelli project, there were supposed to be like 6 other songs that had Nas disses on it, or references to Nas, dissing. So Pac promised that when he went back home, he was going to take those songs off.
When I heard that he had something about me and Machiavelli, but we talked about it, and he was like, he would take it out after me and him met again, and we saw each other. We had voiced our opinions on everything, and he said, I'm cool with taking that out. He's like, yeah, I got that on my record going at you.
Unfortunately, we all know that very shortly after that meeting in New York, Pac had his life taken from him in Las Vegas, Nevada. Same shit, basically. Now, and Pac's wishes of all of the disses to Nas being taken off of Machiavelli were not taken. And one of the most scathing disses is this song right here on the Machiavelli Project, which I liked. You know what I liked about the Machiavelli Project and why I prefer Machiavelli to this day even over the double album, All Eyes on Me, right? Over the double album that he put out, which everybody loves, right? That's probably his most recognizable, most known album. You know why I love that Machiavelli Project over that double CD? Was because the Machiavelli Project seemed way more raw to me. I could tell where Pac messed up in certain songs, where his vocals were a little off, where his ad-lib didn't match his voice or something. And I thought it was only me. But then I heard an interview and someone explained it perfectly. Pac wanted this album to be raw. In fact, from what I understand, he picked one of the producers from the B room. There was at Death Row, there was a room called the A room. I do believe it's called the A room, where all the big producers were, all the big guys, Daz, Superfly, all those big producers. And then they had another room with lesser known producers where they were working on their craft. And Pac was one of the ones that utilized the B room a lot. He would peek his head into the B room to see what they're working on. He ran into the guy who produced this album, and I want to get this guy on the show to discuss. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. All I have to do is a little research. It's a simple research, but the guy who produced this album, the producers of this album, they were the lesser known producers. And Pac just wanted it to, from what I understand, he wanted it to sound a little raw. He wanted it to sound a little rough. And that's what I loved about this project. The overproduction on All Eyes on Me, because All Eyes on Me is the perfectly produced album. If you put that, you could put that album in any radio and it will sound amazing because the production is some of the best in hip hop history. I mean, you had Dr. Dre producing, you had Daz producing, you had DJ Quick editing, producing, all that. Like, come on, how could you not go wrong? But that album right there, that double CD, probably the best produced album. But sometimes I like raw a little bit more. That's why I like No Limit. They were always raw. Somebody messed up in a song, they left it in there. Someone's ad-lib didn't match their voice, they left it in there. Someone didn't sing too quite well, they left it in there. That's why I like No Limit. And that's why I love the Machiavelli Project. And that's why Bomb First is on my list of one of my favorite diss songs of all time.
What's up, y'all? This is Ed Lover from Hot 97. How y'all doing, all right? Yo, chill out. Yo, hold on. This is my nigga Nas, and we both got one thing in common. We both represent Queens to the fullest. Alright? Now, this brother was good enough to stop his show in the middle of the show, and I want everybody in here, everybody stand up on their feet first and foremost, please. No, don't make no noise. Every brother in here, please take your hat off. At 7:03 p.m. New York time, 4:03 p.m. Las Vegas time, Tupac Shakur passed away, y'all. Give me a moment of silence. Now, everybody out there that listen to Hot 97 probably heard about some beef Tupac got with Nas or whatever, with Mobb Deep, whatever. It takes a big motherfucker to stop the Miller hit. Okay? So we can recognize a brother that was part of the hip-hop culture that passed away. I don't give a what Tupac ever said on the record. No matter what, he didn't deserve to die that way. When the fuck are we gonna stop this bull and start loving one another? Don't believe the hype. There wasn't no East Coast, West Coast bullshit. It was some internal LA that took this brother out. Can we have a moment of silence for the memory of one of the greatest rappers that will ever live, Tupac Shakur?
But what about you? What about you, ladies and gentlemen? And before we go on, I'm going to ask you to hit that like button, if you don't mind. Really do appreciate you hitting that like button. Please hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Let's see, I'll do one more. And there's probably going to be a part 3. I just like talking hip hop. And if you like talking hip hop, comment down below. If you want to hear some more of my choices, let me know. And I'll keep doing this. But this is my second show on this subject because, like I said, as a hip hop fan, there's nothing that excites me more than a good diss song. Oh, man. Going back to the Bridge Wars with MC Shan and KRS-One, all the way up to my new favorite, not my new favorite, one of my top 10 favorite diss songs of all time. Second question of the night. Comment down below. And I need to put a poll. I should put a poll up next time. Comment down below. Do you prefer Notorious Thugs or Thug Love? Pac, run with us, run with us. Thug Love with Tupac and Bone Thugs and Harmony, or Notorious Thugs with Biggie and Bone Thugs and Harmony? I love Pac a lot more than I love Biggie, but I gotta say I'm going with Notorious Thugs on this one. Armed and dangerous, ain't too many can bang with us. Straight up, you know, angel dust. Label us notorious. Thug ass is that love to bust. We strange to us, y'all niggas be scrambling, gambling. Come on, in violins, we just sitting here trying to win, trying not to sin. I off weed and lots of gin, so much smoke need oxygen. We counting them Benjamins, nigga, you should do if you knew what this game would do to you. Been in this shit since 92. Look at all the bullshit I've been through. So-called beef with you know who. A few female stars or two. Come on, like my shit, not to be with motherfuckers want to duck quick, cause me and my dogs love the buck shit, the luck shit, spit the game. I mean, come on, dog, get your game, get your bit. Come on, dog. Oh man, I'm telling you guys, I could go off when it comes to Bone Thugs and Harmony, but I think that Notorious Thug song is so dope. There's also a big story behind the Thug Love song that I didn't find out until I had the honor of interviewing Silky Fine, who had the song Romeo and Juliet. You guys remember that 90s song? It's like Romeo and Juliet. Hot sex on a platter makes it something wet. You remember that song, right? I wasn't a big fan of the song, to be honest, but she had bars, and these bars came out in an unreleased version of Thug Love, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? She was supposed to be on the original Thug Love. She's the one that made the connection for Tupac and Bone Thugs and Harmony to come and do their thing. Somehow she ended up off the song, and the rest is history.
Her bitch like silver catch you slipping soon as you get to tripping South Central, stomping motherfuckers, blooding and crippin'.
Eazy-E died, Tupac died, and it was more of a business move for Ruthless Records at the time. I was in the group GBM, which Tamika Woods dropped everybody from Ruthless other than Bone Thugs and Harmony. So it was conflict because they looked at it like a record with Tupac. Oh, this is going to be a group song, which it would have been a group song. But I made the connection to make the record happen. So you made my homeboy Tupac turn in his grave when you took my little 8 bars off of a record. So that's when I knew, like, you know, I intimidate artists. Like, y'all way from Cleveland. Like, I really had love and a relationship to make the record even happen.
Bone Thugs and Harmony. Thug. What did that stand for? Truly Humble United Gathering Souls. Yep, that's what it was. Truly Humble United Gathering Souls. I remember, for whatever reason, they said that in song often, so I remember that was what that meant. But Thug was a big thing also, so Thug brought on another type of beef. Pac wasn't feeling them having Thug in their title. I'm the Thug, says Pac. Who are these dudes from out of town coming to LA, linking up with an LA record label, calling themselves Thug? Oh, hell nah.
With some words said by Pac on the box before about who is these dudes claiming thugs and all of that, you know what I'm saying? You know how he was, a little hot-headed, and then, but once we all seen each other and face-to-face with it got squashed real quick.
He really wouldn't like Young Thug today. I don't think Tupac would Tupac get along with Young Thug? You think Tupac would like Young Thug? I don't know, man. I think Tupac would mess with Young Thug. Yeah, I think Tupac would. But back then, Pac wasn't messing with anybody putting no Thug in their title. I'm the Thug. Everybody knows me as the Thug. Who are these imposters? So there was a little beef. And thankfully, all that ended up not going anywhere, because what I understand, Bone Thugs and Harmony, they weren't none to be played with, man. They were some legit street dudes, and you know, just because you take them out of Cleveland doesn't mean that they're not going to protect themselves and take care of themselves, and they were kind of, from what I remember, you know, kind of little skinny dudes. We're going back in the 90s. Now they're definitely bigger now, but anyway, you know, they were kind of skinny dudes. At least they look skinny in the baggy ass jeans that we used to wear back in the 90s. But rumor has it that they were not to be messed with, and that they all had each other's back, and they all pretty much, for the most part, stuck together and protected themselves in this crazy ass town that we call Hollywood. Because coming from Cleveland to Hollywood, that's a big deal, ladies and gentlemen. Hollywood now is trash. Hollywood probably looks like Cleveland now. No offense to Cleveland, but I heard you guys are on some hard times too. But Hollywood is a s-hole now. It smells. You pull off, you get off of Santa Monica or Sunset or Hollywood, and it smells like human piss. Excuse me. Oh, I can smell it right now. It's burning my nose, and I'm not even in Hollywood. You walk down Hollywood Boulevard now, you're now hopscotching over human feces every 15 yards. Yeah, Hollywood is not what it used to be. Hollywood is not what it used to be. It's not that pretty town that you used to see in I Love Lucy. Remember when they came to Hollywood in I Love Lucy? Nah. Remember when Martin came to Hollywood and he battled Michael Jackson? Michael Jackson kept messing with him. Remember that? Sang with Jodeci. You remember how Hollywood looked back then? Yeah, that was only 30 short years ago. Nope, Hollywood don't look nothing like that now. Fortunately, Hollywood is full of unhoused people, and it has really turned what used to be a great town, a great city with a great history. It's turned it to trash, man. But anyway, it's not about Hollywood. It's about Bone, Thugs, and Harmony.